The first way to begin to release the light of God from your spirit is by beholding him. Because you are not the source. You are the conveyor. You are the conductor. It's by beholding him. And so a man who wants to shine will pay the price to seek God, to find God, and to behold God. He said, we all with unveiled faces. 2 Corinthians 3:18. Beholding as in the glass the glory of the Lord. And like I began sharing, he said, as we behold him, we don't just know more about him. He said, in beholding him, we are now changed. And he said, we are not just changed into whatever. He said, we are changed into that glory, into that image, from one level of glory to another level of glory. If you have studied about the glory of God, you will know that the glory of God is his essence. Captured within the glory of God is his righteousness. The righteousness of God is not just the ability of God to do right. The righteousness of God is actually a power. A power that makes it impossible for God to be wrong, even if he wanted to. If God looks at you now and says you are dark, even if you are as fair as a Chinese person, you will turn dark. Because a power will be emitted. Every time he talks and whatever he does, there's an energy level where he operates from that causes his words to be animated. So the righteousness of God is the power that causes God to be distinguished in glory. So there is a distinctive dimension in God that makes God stand out. Now, when you begin to transform into that glory, you can be on that job with 10 people. They will do what you are doing, but there will be something about yours that will distinguish it. That's what makes you stand out. It is an economy in the glory. So when he said, as we behold him, we are changed, he didn't say we become religious. He said we are changed into that glory. So that thing that makes God stand out, that thing that makes God exceptional, that thing that distinguishes God in glory, he said that thing is imparted unto you. It is at this level now you can go into the world. Because when you join the lecturers, you will be teaching, but there will be a difference. You are teaching chemistry. People are being transformed. They understand the chemistry, but their morality is changing. Because your word does not only convey chemical knowledge, it also conveys power. And so as they are hearing you, they can go home and they lose their peace over something they are doing. The reason is simple. There is glory in your word. And that glory carries the righteous power of God. You go into a business, everybody's looking at it and analyzing it based on physical parameters. But that distinguished and distinctive dimension of God that is in you, it makes you look at 10 things, but you pick one. Even you don't know why you pick that one. But there is something in you that can err. There's something in you that brings you into supernatural accuracy. And so everybody is seeing it based on fact, but you are seeing it from distinction in glory. And so that one you picked, over time it becomes the best. And people come to you and say, how are you doing these things? We all with open faces, beholding as in a glass the glory of the Lord. You are changed. We are changed. Even in marriage, 3 suitors come. You look at them. You would have preferred the guy who looks a particular way, but the glory in you won't let you. You see them, you are gravitating towards the guy. He's bringing gifts. He's smooth with words. He knows how to care for you. But the glory in you is telling you, pick this quiet one. Even you don't know why. You don't know why. But there is something in glory that distinguishes God, that causes God to always be accurate and makes it impossible for God to err. So as you are being transformed, you are brought into accuracy. The things you do, they must work. You become right. You become on point. And it's not because you read. It's not because you are experienced. It's not because you are old. You may be very young, but you are accurate. You are accurate by the glory. As you are beholding, you are being changed. And so when we behold and we are changed, it's not about becoming a more passionate Christian. It's not about becoming active in church. Yes, you will be, but you begin to dominate your word. Because there's an accuracy that comes into you. You don't know why. You don't just know why, but you now discover that the step of the righteous man is ordered by the Lord. Is ordered. All your steps are now ordered, and you begin to succeed. It cannot be explained, but it cannot be denied. We all with unveiled faces. Because when you wait, something happens to you. He said, have you not heard? Isaiah 40 verse 28. That the everlasting God fainted not, neither is he weary. He said, he giveth power to the faint. Unto them that have no might, he increaseth strength. And he said, even the youth shall faint. So if you think it's about youthfulness, you are wrong. He said, and the young men, because this is the youth and the young men are like the brightest of the human species. But he's telling you this thing is beyond natural advantage. The youth shall faint, the young men shall utterly fall. He said, but they that wait upon the Lord, they mount up. They don't run anymore, they mount. They mount up with wings like the eagles. He said, when they now run, they don't faint. When they walk, they are not weary. There is something that comes into them, is the excelling glory. And so they begin to operate exactly like the God that they worship. This is why when you see them, you no longer see them. You see the God that is on their inside. Paul said, be ye followers of me as I am the follower of Christ. You can become an architect with a difference. You can become a businessman with a difference. You can become a politician with a difference. But before you get there, you must be changed so that the glory begins to dictate your life. Not what you read, not what people told you. You come into accuracy and precision because that is the nature of the glory. We all with open faces, beholding as in a glass the glory of the Lord, we are changed. Please help the sister. We all with open faces, beholding as in a glass the glory of the Lord, we are changed. Your family can be changed. Your business can be changed. Your career can be changed. But how well have you beheld? Because this thing is not just telling you what to do and what not to do. It's to become. It's metamorphosis. You become like him. So you think like God. You act like God. He said we have the mind of Christ. And so we judge all things. You begin to operate exactly like the God that you serve. So much so that when men see you, they will have a testimony that there's God in this man. I don't know what he's doing, but there is something about this man that cannot be explained, yet cannot be denied. Your word is waiting for you, but not this version. No. This version, there's somebody who studied in Harvard who knows better. This version of you, there's somebody who has a connection that is stronger. There's a version of you that when you come is God the see. The Bible said in Exodus 30 verse 29, it said when Moses waited, it said the face of Moses began to shine. Even Moses was not aware. That's the beauty of it. Even you will not know that something has happened. But you will just discover that everything you do, your results are beyond human standards. It said Moses wished not that his face was glistering. His face began to glister because he was coming to the immortal dimension. And a point came, the words of Moses became the words of God. When Paul was speaking about Moses many years later, in 2 Corinthians 3:15, he said when Moses is read, Moses had become one with the laws of God. The things Moses said were equal with the things God said. He had come into so much immortalization that he was like a God. So much so that even his body, the glory on his body became too much that Moses could not die. God had to kill him. They needed to invent a technology of killing Moses because the man can't die. At 120, his eyes didn't go dim. His body strength was not abated. He became a glorified man. And when God wanted to kill Moses, he had to do it in secret because it's the way you kill a glorified person. The man had conquered death. And even after killing Moses, the devil came looking for his body. Because there is something they wanted to study about the body of Moses. This one is not normal. There are men who have come into that economy. Elijah walked in it so much that he couldn't die. God said, no, we will take you. If we leave you here, even angels will come to arrest you to study you because you have become a specimen. And when God took Elijah, again and again, Elijah came to visit the earth. Because when God has a project, accurate man needs to manifest. Accurate man needs to show up. On the Mount of Transfiguration, Elijah came. In John the Baptist, Elijah came. And Elijah will still come again. One man lived 4 lifetimes because of the level of accuracy. God could not exhaust him in his program because he had become like an immortal. So God preserves such people to use them again and again. Did you not read Daniel? Daniel knew the technology. When they were competing for position, he said, give the position to others. I will wait at the gate. There's a place where the star of heaven appears. There's a place we dwell, where we look upon him that dwells in light. There's a place we sit where we gaze upon the one that sits in the purifying fires. That's our satisfaction. We will stay there. And they thought Daniel had lost relevance until a day came, a hand wrote on the wall and nobody could read it. If you can't read, how do you explain? And they went to look for the guy who, according to human standard, was irrelevant. And Daniel strode out of his cave. And when he came, he looked at the hand and he began to write, began to read the language of angels. Who taught you? Where did you read it? How do you know that there are languages beyond human civilization? And he did not just read it. He first of all gave a narrative of why the hand came. Because he is part of the court session where that verdict was given. I don't just know the writing. I know why the hand came. He said, God blessed your father and gave you a kingdom that covered the ends of the earth. But you decided to worship the God of iron and of stone. He said, therefore is this hand come. So before I read it, let me tell you why the hand came. And after he told him why, he now began to read it. Mene. Take care, overseen. He said, you have been weighed in the balance. How do you know where they weigh men? I thought the weighing balance is in the natural. How do you know? What parameters do gods consider when they weigh men? He was talking about the judgments of Elohim. I was there when you were judged. I was there when the verdict were passed. I was there where your weight was quantified in the spirit. And I knew that you were found wanting because the immortals have disqualified you. And he said, tonight your kingdom shall be measured and separated to the Medes and the Persians. And that same night, the strongest civilization in the world collapsed because a man of glory was talking. Who told you that United Kingdom is too strong? We need men of glory, men that can go into light that is more ancient than the older civilization. Among men, this may be the most ancient civilization, but there is a light that dwells before the worlds were created. There's a civilization that existed beyond the stars. There's a place where cherubims gather, where they dictate the outcomes of human civilization. If a man can behold, he will journey to those quarters, and when that man talks, his voice will be as ancient as the one that sits on the throne. You see, the angels of God are already ministering to people. Because some of you, you carry eternity in your heart. You are deep. You are deep, but you have not traveled. You have not traveled. They kept you studying physics and theology. That is good. Read it. I also studied. I'm a PhD holder. But there is a knowledge. There's a knowledge that does not increase learning. There's a knowledge that increases transformation. He said, you shall know the truth. The truth shall make you free. There's a knowledge that brings you into liberty in the spirit, where you talk things that men can't comprehend. And when you talk, the outcome of your utterance is power. If you don't touch glory, they will still be judging you based on your skin color. But there's a place you will enter. You will come out with the sun. And even they will be wrong to call you a black man, because you will come out with the regalias of the immortals. And even the white man will know that no, skin color does not matter. Where you come from, the weight of glory that will turn out of your spirit can swallow an ancient civilization.